so much new evidence in the Takeoff passing case involving new witnesses' statements, new camera angles, and allegedly even a snitch. Now, typically during a case such as this, the police will use a tactic of building a portfolio of evidence based on a perspective of somebody that was at the scene. Quavo's perspective of Takeoff's passing shares an entirely new look on how Takeoff passed away. On Halloween night, Quavo, alongside Takeoff, met with a driver for their vehicle, as well as another man named Migos Bands. Migos Bands is one of two suspects in the passing case of Takeoff. Now, Instagram stories piece together a day of events for these four individuals, with them starting at a get-together where Quavo and Takeoff performed a few songs at the beginning of the night, to then them relaxing at an after-party room with music industry people as well as businessmen. Now, while at the after-party, this is where we meet suspect number 2. This suspect's name is Cam. Known for street-related acts in Atlanta, he was located at the party and allegedly was there for security for some other people that were there. Now, here's a picture taken of Quavo giving Cam a very ugly look in the after-party room. Cam wore a yellow sweater this entire night. It's important to remember that. Now, after that was complete, Quavo, Takeoff, and Migos Bands were then seen walking through a shopping center in Houston, Texas, alongside a lump sum of 50 people that were all friends and acquaintances of J. Prince Jr. Now, inside of the shopping center is a bowling alley called 810 Billiards and Bowling Houston. There was up to 50 people standing outside of that location, and there was 4 to 6 people taking turns playing dice in exchange for cash. Now, reports state that Migos rapper Quavo was one of the 50 men playing dice, but that is false, as Quavo was just watching with Takeoff a few feet behind him. Now, while watching people play dice, a man is then seen walking up to Quavo. This mystery man starts calling Quavo names. This then led into the man mocking the way Quavo was playing during a celebrity basketball game just a few weeks prior. Quavo is seen on footage arguing back and forth with this individual. Quavo's also heard saying, and I quote, "Man, I don't care about no basketball game." Now, at this current time, Cam in the yellow sweater is then seen starting to walk up beside Quavo and the man he was arguing with. With Cam standing there and the yelling starting to escalate between the two, Migos Bands is then seen walking towards the group of 50 people that were standing around. Now, you can tell this is Migos Bands from the shirt that he's wearing, Gucci bag, single chain, and a snapback cap that he was wearing in the vehicle earlier in the night on several Instagram stories. With everything starting to happen, Takeoff is still seen just standing there a few feet behind Quavo. It was noted that Takeoff was just standing there, minding his own business, maybe 6 feet away from Quavo. Now, when Quavo was done arguing, he begins walking away from the individual. The new camera footage then reveals when Quavo starts walking away, the man he was arguing with then swings at Quavo. He misses, and this causes Takeoff to take 3 steps forward so he can back up Quavo against this man. While Takeoff is starting to move forward, Cam in the yellow sweater is then seen pulling a firearm from out of his hoodie and lifting it in the air. With Cam pulling out his firearm, Migos Bands then notices and quickly pulls his out. Allegedly, Cam is the one who used his firearm first, using it 4 to 5 times in the area where sadly Takeoff was hit for the first time. Migos Bands then retaliates, and this is where witnesses say that Migos Bands also then affected Takeoff as well with his. The police state that with the 2 firearms in that area, they were used a total of 11 times, and sadly Takeoff was hit with 2 strays. With the sounds of firearms being used, the 50 lump sum of people then are seen starting to sprint away, ducking for cover and hopping over benches and chairs. They're also seen sprinting out of the doors of the mall. Meanwhile, everyone's running away. Takeoff is then seen on the floor of the mall with Quavo standing right by his side. At this time, Quavo is trying anything possible to help him, yelling for help, and even asking people to stop recording. Sources mention that this is Quavo's fault. Do not listen to any of that nonsense. Eyewitnesses say Takeoff was affected by 2 strays as he was standing there minding his own business. And even at the end of this situation, Quavo stood his ground. He stayed beside Takeoff the entire time, even when the firearms were still being used. He did not leave him for 1 second. He was with his brother until the end. Now, police quickly did arrive to the scene. They cleared the area and they tried everything to help Takeoff, but sadly, it was already too late. Now, this all connects to what a witness posted about what they saw. A female named Elizabeth that was at the scene, she was actually standing beside Takeoff when this all occurred. Now, she tweeted just hours after the incident, and I quote, "I'ma speak on this because I feel like I have to. I was right there, next to Takeoff. They wasn't arguing about a dice game. Quavo was pressed and Takeoff was hit by strays as firearms were used for no reason. Rest in peace, Takeoff. He didn't deserve that. He was to himself the whole night." Now, this tweet also had text messages attached to what people are assuming is her boyfriend that was standing and playing games of dice. The text messages read, "Firearms just started ringing, but they were coming from somebody the Migos was with. But he was using his firearm wild, and he hit Takeoff on accident. Then the other people started using their firearms back, and I think he got hit again. But ultimately, his own guys did it, because when he got hit the first time, I just saw him. Quavo was mad over some small stuff that wasn't really worth it. Takeoff was the coolest and quietest guy in that room the whole time. He didn't say a word, just chilling in the cut. He didn't even know what was going on. He just jumped and got it. Houston for sure about to be a no-fly zone because the M's are supposed to be protecting these artists." Now, in the text messages, it claims from an eyewitness that was watching Takeoff that his own guy affected him. This would relate to Migo Bands as shared earlier, as Migo Bands was seen on video pulling a firearm out and walking right beside Takeoff. Then in the text messages, it states that the other people started using theirs back, and that would relate then to Cam, who was also seen pulling a firearm out. Now, here's where it starts to connect even more. Another bystander at the incident did an exclusive interview with popular YouTuber Storm Monroe. She stated this get-together event at the mall was all set up by Jay Prince Jr. Now, she states to hang out with Jay Prince Jr., his security guards check every single person that comes to the event. Not one single illegal item is allowed through, such as a firearm. They don't allow any of that near Jay. The only ones with firearms are people that are there to protect him and his friends, aka the Migos. Migo Bands was most likely there and allegedly was there to be security for Quavo and Takeoff. That's why his firearm was allowed in the mall and at the event. Then earlier in the video when I shared the photo of Quavo giving a very ugly look to Cam, he most likely knew Cam is related in a lot of street activity and was also probably there as security for someone else. Now, with the Takeoff passing being so sudden, many rappers started sharing love immediately on Instagram. We saw Boosie state this on Instagram.
R.I.P. Takeoff, bro.
Boosie state this on Instagram.
R.I.P. Takeoff, bro. Shaking my head, man. Humble. That music syndicate won't show QC, all the family. We sending some prayers and love for y'all. All Takeoff family, Quavo, Offset, all y'all. That music syndicate won't, send their prayers out. This rap whack, bro. I ain't lying, bro. We targets now, bro. We used to be heroes, Everybody want us out of here, bro. R.I.P. Takeoff.
Not too long after that, we then saw Master P post this to his Instagram.
And hip hop is too young. Rest in peace to Takeoff. My condolences goes out to Takeoff family, Quavo, man, all my soldiers and soldier reps. Hip hop has turned to the new streets. We used to be in the streets trying to get into hip hop, which is crazy. When you walk out your house, tell your loved ones you love them, because you never know who might not come back. And no matter how old or young you are, it's crazy. I love y'all soldiers and salute to everybody. Let's save the next generation.
We then saw